Hey, I'm Tony K. Welcome to Transformation School. Today's lesson is Age of Extinction, Deluxe Class, High Octane Bumblebee. If you want to skip right to the transformation from vehicle to robot mode, go to 5 minutes and 42 seconds in the video. Right out of the package, we'll want to straighten his legs, bring his backpack up, that's the roof of his car and the rear windshield, and then bring his calves up, which is the rear end of the car. To transform him into vehicle mode, let's start with the chest. There's two pegs, one on each half of the front bumper, that peg into his waist. We'll unpeg those. We'll rotate the front half of the car above his head. That's going to take the doors, the wheels, and his arms with it. We can fold in the flaps that make the hood of the car, but we might come back to that in a moment. We're going to move down to the feet, folding the foot up and the calf rear section of the car back. And now that makes an opening for this peg to fit into. We'll squeeze that in. And we'll do the same on the other side. We'll fold the foot up a bit, rotate the rear end of the car down, and finish folding the foot in. It makes a nice click. We can peg into these holes on the rear end of the car right away. We might stress those later as we move the legs a bit during transformation. Might not be good to peg those together yet. We can bring the roof of the car back a bit. Let's finish some of the front end. We're going to rotate his arms in and down. There's a hole on his forearm guard that his weapon has a peg that'll fit into. Once you get both arms rotated down, then you can bring the peg and the hole together and continue rotating the arm pieces until they make a good alignment. The arm should be pretty straight. Your missile, your projectile from his weapon, has a hole, a cavity in this section that it should fit into just below Bumblebee's head. Let's do a little more work on the front end. We've got two pegs on one side and one peg on the other side of the front bumper behind the grille. We also have a peg on the front of each of these two flaps. If we move the grille up, push the flaps down, bring the grille over them and peg the grille together. We'll fold the tires in. There's a teeny tiny tab on the front of the fender above the tire. It goes in behind the front bumper or the grille front of the car. Did both sides there. We can finish the back end. And the roof of the car together. We have two tabs below the front windshield that tab into the front end of the car. We've got an L-shaped hinge connecting the rear windshield to the roof. Bring that down. Nice long tab on the back of the rear windshield. And a peg on the door with a corresponding hole on the rear fender, or rear side panel. Repeat on the other side. Let's push everything in a little bit, make sure it's all properly aligned and pegged together. And here we have high octane Bumblebee in vehicle mode. From the side, the front, the other side, from the back, and from the bottom. And we'll reverse our procedure to turn him back into robot mode. We're going to open the doors. We're going to unpeg the front tires. There's a little tab at the front fender behind the grill. Swing that back. Repeat on the other side. We're going to free this tab from the back windshield. We're going to be pulling up on this section here, so it might free this tab, might free the front tabs. Oh, there's a little tab here and a little tab down here. There we go. Let's pivot on this L-shaped bracket that connects the rear windshield to the roof. Pivot that up. And that's about it for that piece. Let's finish his legs. We're going to pull his foot out a bit. And now we're going to lift up the rear end of the car up to his up towards his knee. And that makes his calf muscle. And now we'll finish pivoting his foot down, or his ankle, I should say, and now his foot. Let's do the other side. Separating the foot from the thigh, pivoting the rear end of the car up, finish pivoting his ankle down, and now bring his foot up a little bit. We'll take care of his arms next. They've already come separated during transformation, but we did have this peg from the weapon to the opposing forearm. I've got a hinge right up here near the hood of the car. I'm going to pivot his shoulder out, and that brings his whole arm out. I'm going to angle his arm up a bit so it doesn't get caught on his wheel. Same on the other side. Pivot out at the shoulder, rotate the arm up, and finish bringing it up. We've got these two flaps here, and I think they're going to pop open when we bring this down. The whole hood of the car, bring it over his head. It's pivoting on a joint just below the neck. And now we're going to separate our front bumper. There's tabs connecting the two halves. And then we angle the center up and the sides down. You can kind of see these two pegs come together. And then they will peg into the hole in his waist. There we go. Straighten his arms a little bit. Open these flaps by his head. And we'll fix his backpack. Bring that whole assembly up. And that is it for Bumblebee's transformation. He does have one of these friction fire weapons. Have this ball and these two sides holding it in, creating the friction. Very nice gimmick. I do appreciate that more than the spring-loaded style of weapon. That concludes today's lesson on Age of Extinction, Deluxe Class, High Octane Bumblebee. Class dismissed.